Hi there and welcome back to Press Ups after a long break. WordPress 4.5 is about to come out and it's occurred to me that I haven't done an update for WordPress 4.3 or 4.4 yet. So this short video is an overview of the changes that appeared in WordPress 4.3. So here is an updated site running WordPress 4.3. This is where all my other press ups tutorials have happened so far, and I'm going to talk you through the changes. So first of all, you may not be familiar with the customizer, but if you do use the customizer, then there are some new things in there that you can use in WordPress 4.3. So the customizer, if you don't know, allows you to make changes to your site and preview those. The key thing about the customizer is that these links here enable little panels that open that let you make changes to your site. Make sure you click the blue button at the top to save your changes once you've made them and you're happy. And there'll be a live preview of your changes over on the right hand side as well, so that's really handy. So the first thing that's changed in WordPress 4.3 is that if you find where it says menus, you can now actually manage menus and menu locations from the customizer. So what we'll see here is that menu 1 here is currently set to the top menu. If I click on that, you'll see Home, About Me, News, About Press Ups and Google. That's these things across the top here. And I can modify these. So let's remove the link to Google here. That will refresh over on the right hand side and disappear. Or I can add an item. So let's add a link to a categories page, for example. That then gets added, and there that link has appeared. I won't go into the details of managing menus here. That's the subject of another press ups tutorial. But so if you do know how to manage menus, you can now do that from the customizer, and that's really handy. It's also great to be able to see the preview on the right hand side so you can see exactly what's changing. Now also in the customizer now is a thing called your site identity. So when you have a tab open, or if you save a bookmark to somewhere, this little link here, or this little icon, sorry, that's currently a small page, that is actually customizable now from here. You used to need a plugin to do this, but you can now just choose a file. So let's see what we can find. Is there anything in my media library? That's not a very good picture. Let's just try and upload something from... Yeah, this will do. A little mini roundabout. Great. Let's open that. That will upload. Goes through the image processing, which is a bit slow today. And then we'll select that as our image. We can crop it, so we can make it, if it's not a square, we can make it into a square, which it has to be. And there's a little preview of that up here. And once I've cropped, we're happy with that. You can't see that straight away. Oh yes, you can. That's refreshed up there now. So the little icon there has appeared. So that's the two extra things that you can do in the customizer now. We'll click Save and Publish to keep those changes. Now, for people who actually create or edit content on your site, there's a few handy little things that you can now do as well. So let's add a new post. Now, I'm going to go straight to the editor. This can just be my post here. And what you can now do is you can now use what are called formatting shortcuts. So I would always encourage you to turn on this extra toolbar and use these headings and make use of things like bulleted lists here. And you can now actually do this just by typing. So if you put 2 or more hashes, this will actually create, and then 2 or more hashes followed by a space will now create you a top level heading. So if I go like that, that actually automatically turns into heading 2. 3 hashes and a space turns into a heading 3. If you don't want that to happen, then press escape and it reverts the change. So that's a really quick and easy way of creating headings. You can use star to create a bulleted list. And you can also use a dash, to add to your list as well. If you use a number and a dot, then that will create a numerical list. So these are small changes which, if you can remember how to do them, just make quickly creating post content much easier. And if you're creating content a lot, that's a really handy little feature. Something else that's new that you should know about is that previously pages used to have comments turned on. We'll not save that post. Pages used to have comments turned on by default. If I now create a new page, then we should, if I go to screen options and turn on discussion, you'll see that any new pages now have comments and trackbacks and pingbacks turned off by default. Most of the sites that I work with people on, pages don't allow comments anyway, but it's worth knowing that that is now disabled by default. And if you don't know what screen options is, then there's a press ups tutorial all about that as well. There's also some changes to passwords. So if I go and edit your profile, so this is my own user page, then there's a new password setting mechanism where I can click generate password. It automatically creates me a long and complex password and tries to enforce a certain amount of password complexity upon people. So that's pretty handy and really good for security and as well worth knowing. Behind the scenes, lots of other stuff has happened that you really don't need to know about and won't notice, but they're constantly improving how WordPress works behind the scenes. You don't need to know about that, but it's always improving. I hope that's been a useful overview of what's in WordPress 4.3. There will shortly be a video for WordPress 4.4 as well, and then another version will come out as well. I hope this has been useful. I'll go back and update some of the previous tutorials with new features over time, hopefully, but this should at least get you up to speed with WordPress 4.3.